Correct beat. You're listening to the BB Naija Lockdown Breakdown on Not Just OK Radio.
Yes. Welcome to another fantastic episode of this our thing, our BB Naija Lockdown Breakdown. Once again with me, your favorite host, Afro 7, coming straight and live to you on Not Just OK Radio. I've got with me my co-host, Iffy. Iffy, say hi to the listeners.
Hi guys, welcome back to the show.
Yes,
hope you guys have the station on lockdown. It's going to be another exciting episode of the show this week. So sit back and we're going to knock you guys right out.
Yeah, that's what we aim to do. You know, we like to keep the show interactive, as you guys are quite aware of by now. So please use the hashtag BBNigerLDBD to partake in the conversation and to enlighten us with some of your views as well. We really do enjoy and appreciate that. All right, so let's just get straight into it. Last week, this Sunday gone, saw the eviction of Prince Maya Oriade and Kidwire. Surprisingly, not surprising that he was third bottom, but rather that he was evicted. I thought they would evict just one person, given how boring the house has been since then. You know, Iffy, what are your views on this?
Well, I think that the evictions were expected because of the people that were up for eviction. It was Kidwire, Prince, Ozo, and Dorothy.
That's
I
right.
did. I mean, it was safe. Anyways, it really could have been anybody. As a matter of fact, it could have been. Also, it could have been Dorothy. Because even if you compare, like, if you look at the polls, like how the people voted, the difference between Ozo, who had the highest number of votes, and Prince was like maybe just 8% in between. So I think that it was a tough one, but it was mostly like let the best man win, and I guess the two best men won. So yeah, that would be
Yeah,
Dora and Ozo.
yeah, yeah. For me, I knew, even though it hurt me, but I knew that my baby prince is going home. Once I saw
Yeah.
the lineup, I thought the only thing we could do was to try to just push the votes up as high as possible. We did that. We tried.
Hmm.
But his run in the house came to an end, and like the nobleman he is, he left the house on a high, very regal, very respectful,
Yes, it
exit,
did.
a properly graceful exit from the house. And it warmed
Hmm.
my heart that in his last week people really just started warming up to him, started seeing him for more of the character he was, but he sort of just flew under the radar because we are caught up in all the several ships and whatever have you. Now,
Yeah.
let's talk about Wire's exit though. Kid Wire, I thought. I mean, if you're an avid watcher of the show, you can sometimes predict what the results would be, and the results came in pretty much how we predicted. Okay,
Yes.
but I was surprised that they chose to evict him. I know that at that time they had what 9 people in the house still, but I
Hmm.
thought, I don't know why I thought this. I thought they
So
would
they picked
save.
one person, right?
Right,
And then
right,
pick two
right,
people
right.
to speak.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. So I mean, he seems pretty pleased to be out the house. He was getting bored, getting quite withdrawn and stuff. So, what did you think about his on stage interview? Hello. Okay, it appears
Yep,
we
I'm
might
here.
have.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes, now we
Can
can
you hear
hear
me
you.
now? Yes. Okay.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah. What did you think about Kid Wire's on stage interview?
Say
Okay.
that again.
What did you think about Kid Wire's exit interview?
Oh, I think it was brilliant. He answered all his questions correctly. Like he was confident, and I mean, he was kid wire. Like I didn't honestly didn't expect any less from him from that interview. I think he answered all his questions brilliantly, and he knew exactly what he wanted to say, like as to concern all the questions that he was asked. So yes, I think it was a very good one. One of my best exit interviews so far, by the way.
Yes, yes, yes. I enjoy that too. I mean, I think it'll be interesting just to see how the house copes with the absence of such a big character. Um,
Hmm.
they in terms of entertainment value, they're all pretty much in the same wavelength now, as far as I'm concerned. I thought,
Yeah.
well, there's Dora, but Dora is also quite forlorn right now. I think the
Yes. Yes.
the the eviction of Prince sort of hit her quite hard too.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
Dora and Trickety, perhaps, but it's just not very it's not very upbeat
I
in
think
there right now.
the truth is, like they're in the second to the final week of the show, so energies are generally running low. Like
Very
everybody's
low,
tired. In fact,
very
looking at
low.
Nengi yesterday after she won the HOH task, she looked drained. Like I just felt so sorry for
Yeah,
her. She looked
she did.
quite exhausted. And I mean, Nengi is naturally a low energy baby, you know. So I mean, like imagine at this particular time when like they're just tired. They're generally like in the last push to just get to the
They're
finish line,
very tired.
what it stands for. Yeah. But like
They're
the energy in
very
the house right
very
now is
tired.
really, really low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the hot topics for the week. And the very first one obviously is the most obvious thing that we should discuss, and that is the nomination style that Big Brother introduced yesterday. So after the head of house games, as if you just referred to, we had a table with some kind of sheet over it. They were asked to remove the sheet. I don't even understand what the purpose of the sheet was in the first place, but anyway, they were asked to remove the sheet. Head of house was instructed to remove it very gently. She did
Mm-hmm.
that, and each
So as not to
housemate,
upturn the bowls.
precisely, and each housemate was then required to stand to tap a bowl and stand behind it. So they all did this in turn. So that's Ozo, Dorothy, Lekon, Trickety, V, and
V.
Neo all
Yes.
stood behind a bowl. And then they were asked to lift the covers and reveal what laid underneath the bowls. And they had headbands. So black headbands and white headbands. So they were split into two groups of three each. So you
So
had
three. Yes.
Ozo, Neo, and Dorothy in one group, Then you had V, Lekon, and Tricky in the other group. Big Brother then instructed them to go away into their respective designated areas and discuss which two housemates they were going to put up for nomination. At this point, what was the thought in your mind, Iffy? Okay, so at that point, the thought in my mind was, hey, God, I'm very happy that they managed to split up Neo and V. That was quite important to me. I thought that would guarantee a more interesting outcome. We seem to have lost if you just interrupt me when you get back on, whenever that is. So when they split up Neo and V, now I can, yes.
Okay.
So when they split up Neo and V into separate groups, what was your thought?
Well, I honestly thought that, oh yes, I mean now they're not in the same group, so they cannot manipulate anything. Unknown to me what Big Brother was actually planning, because I mean, like them being in separate groups was the only reason why neither of them was going to be up, because knowing how the both were, seeing how manipulative actually the both could be, it was the best thing that happened to them was one of them, either of them being like one of them being in either of the groups, if I get that correctly. So yes, like so initially I was like, oh yes, good for them, and then it just so happened that it actually worked out in their favor. So yeah.
It did work out in their favor. And I personally, I was really, really hoping that either Trickety or Dora would take a firm stand, because I figured the other two would be quite pliable to either V or Neo. That's Ozo and Lekon. So Trickety was quite adamant in wanting to choose Neo. And funnily enough, given how the polls have gone recently, he's stronger than Neo, because Neo hasn't been up for such a long time, that his fans haven't been galvanized as recently as Tricky T's have. And due to him being up over so many weeks, his only chance of staying in the house, if they decide to evict one person, was putting up somebody weaker than him. I think he sensed it, but he could not present the case, because every time he tried to string a case together, V would interrupt and muddy the waters with her argument. Yeah. She would completely muddy the waters. I don't know if it was deliberate or if that's how she saw it.
But of course it was deliberate. Like it was a game, they were playing a game, and
she talked it up, really she talked it down. It was crazy. It was crazy. And to the point where Lekon's reluctance to put up Dora, I mean, Lekon was okay, Ozo, they all agreed on. They all agreed to put up Ozo. And the second choice was the issue. It was between Neo and Dora.
No, it was between, yes, okay, yeah, that's correct. Between Neo and Dora.
Trickety wanted Neo. Lekon started wanting Neo because he said putting up Dora will be hard, for him. It will be hard. So, of course, V wanted Tricky, wanted Ozo and Dora straight up. One of the reasons that they then came to, after they all agreed on Ozo, and Tricky was still standing his ground saying Neo, because they're both from the same place, and it feels like the voters should have a choice to choose between them. They're both from the same region, rather, and they've got similar personalities, so he feels like the viewers will have a choice to choose between them. He didn't quite string together his argument properly. Lekon was sort of in the middle. I think he was willing to go with whoever won him over. Unfortunately for Tricky T, he couldn't string together proper argument, and V's muddying won the day,
So like, the funny thing about it, yeah?
What?
V made a lot of contradictory statements, by the way.
She did, but they didn't pick it up.
She kept contradicting herself. Like, if this is the reason why you're saying this then means that, no, we should actually put Neo up. She kept making all sorts of comments in that way, and they just didn't pick it up. I don't know what happened to Tricky T, because he started off saying, I mean, the funny thing is, at the beginning, V was so sure that everybody wanted them to put up Ozo, and I mean, of course, like, you can't just put up Neo now, So she came up with like, let's just all just say what's on our mind, like, here, what we're gonna say, And then
she was so certain.
She was so certain everybody wanted to put up Dora and Ozo. And then she now said, well, Dora and Ozo, and Tricky's like, no, for him, it's the two guys.
And then Lekon said, that Dorothy's gonna be hard for me. Yeah. So I think she was taken a little bit aback, like,
Yes. So, but then again, she quickly, like re-strategized in her head and came back quickly. Like, that was very quick recovery for her.
You can't but rate her.
But of course, I think that they played such a brilliant game. I mean, the nomination has so now. I don't think anybody even saw this twist coming. I think this is the biggest twist of the season, by the way. The only one actually, because I don't think there's anything that the production has done that has wowed anybody or that has left us, at the edge of our seat. So I think that nobody anticipated it, nobody saw it coming. Now the nominations has Ozo, Dora, Lakon, and Trickety up for evictions this week. So what do you think about this method of nomination?
But before we even get there, let's discuss the other ones in the garden, because we've only discussed the ones inside.
Yes.
So there was another group outside in the garden of Ozo, Dorothy, and Neil. Just like Trickety, Dorothy's only chance, I shouldn't say only chance, but to give herself a really good chance of staying in the house, she had to make sure a housemate that was weaker than her was up. At least two housemates. I mean, they can only choose one housemate that was weaker than her. If the other group chose right, that by choosing Neo and Ozo, that would be two housemates, because they were going to choose Tricky for sure. No, they had all agreed on Lakon.
Lakon, yes.
We all know what Lakon's stats look like, right?
But they don't know that.
No, they don't know that. Ozo said no. He's agreed on Lakon, but his second choice is going to be V. I don't know what's wrong with Big Brother and the production team, but we didn't get to hear his reasons. But I suspect it's that she was sitting down. She hadn't stood up. The only two people that had escaped standing up at all during the housemates nominations and bottom four nominations were Ozo, Dorothy,
and Trickety.
and Lakon. Only three of them, right, had escaped standing up at all.
Okay, yes.
When it was general nominations, bottom four nominations. However,
That's correct.
Ozo, Dorothy, and Lakon had been up before during housemates nominations, as had Tricky. So I think that was on Ozo's mind, unlike Dorothy. For Dorothy to give herself a good chance, V had to be up, right?
That's correct. And I mean, I was kind of surprised about that as well, because Dorothy has actually nominated V before now.
She has.
During nominations. That was the very first nomination. She nominated V. Again, Dorothy's reason for, I actually heard her reason the first time. She said she wanted to nominate someone who, if she nominated the person who had a chance of survival. And I'm like thinking, okay, are you okay? Because if you're nominating someone
BS.
who had
BS. They're hiding behind that. I'm so bored of it.
Do you understand what I mean? Like, so if you're nominating someone who stood a chance to recover, it means that you're only directly setting yourself up.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, if I want to be up, I want to be up at least before the finals. In the finals, it's really anybody's game, as a matter of fact. But if I have the chance to get to the finals, I'm just going to grab it with both hands. So I'm thinking, if you have a chance to save yourself, why are you not putting V up? I mean, I was so upset. I'm
but
sure a lot of people.
Did you notice also what Neo was doing? Neo was like acting as if discussing it further was stressing him out. Oh, make una do what I won't do. Me, I don't talk my own. No.
That was manipulation.
Do you
my
understand?
Goodness. And then, like, he wasn't making eye contact with anyone. He kept
exactly.
putting his face, look my face, see what they tried to, kind of a thing. So he just kept looking away the whole time. And then Dorothy was now like even more confused. And then even all the times I was asking me again, he said, guys, I don't really talk with make you talk your own now, So like they be going, So that's the fact. And I mean, as a matter of fact, they
were both insistent that they weren't putting emotions into it, and they're more group members, absolute more group members. Why is it? I mean, they weren't putting emotions into it, okay, but you could choose one housemate for sure, very calmly. They both chose. One group chose Lakon calmly. The other group chose Ozo calmly. There was no argument. Why is it when it was V and Neo that there was an argument and they were insisting that there was no emotion inside? I mean, they got played so nicely by their fellow housemates that I can't help but commend them. I commend Neo, I commend V for playing the game the way they should have played the game.
Exactly.
I'm not mad at them.
They have their heads firmly, of course I'm not mad at that at all. They have their heads firmly planted in the game. As a matter of fact, if for anything, they made the best decision they ever made in this season. Like, if I wasn't sure of what their game,
the same group. They made the best
decision. No, but then that was by chance. Anyway, that was like a game of chance, really, But then also being able to convince the other people, they had their way about it, because I mean they could have fumbled. Yes.
The other team
You
members
know,
were cowards. They were cowards. I mean,
yes,
that's
they
just
couldn't
it.
say. Ozo was saying no, but I mean, I don't want to nominate put Tricky T up. I'd rather choose, because I think Ozo was also thinking about it. Like Tricky T, he had seen what, because what Ozo was thinking about. Listen,
This guy's strong.
you know that Tricky T had been up by the public three
For
times. Okay.
3 times exactly, and saved
Yes.
3 times at a housemate, and
And
stood up
saved by the
once.
housemate. So which means that he wasn't actually so popular outside. So that would also give us a fighting chance if stronger people were to be
Exactly.
up.
That's how
So
you're
he knew.
supposed to think about it.
Yes. And it just seemed like these people didn't really know. He just said, "Oh, Tricky has stood up." No, he hasn't been up before. He hasn't been up like that.
No,
I'm
no,
like
no.
thinking,
That's
I kidding.
Lekon. That's Lekon. He was trying to remix the this Bobo played them, no be small. He was trying to
I
remix
know.
he was trying to remix how many times Lekon had been up. Do you get me? Because he saw that Ozo was a bit soft, because he was thinking Tricky had been up too many times. So he was trying to remix it. He was saying, no, Lekon's never been up. Dora also started chorusing Lekon had never been up, and Ozo was like, no, that's not true. The first time the house nominated, it was only me, you, and Ozo, Dora, and somebody else. Ozo, Dora, and Neo that were not
Yes,
nominated.
that weren't up. Everybody else
That
was
went
up.
up.
Yeah,
So
that's
that means that Lekon was up when the house nominated, And then they were like, oh yeah, true. And then he quickly looked down. That be Neo.
Neil was making eye contact the whole time.
Man,
Like he was
he
looking down
played
the whole
them
time.
nicely.
It did nicely, man. I can't even be mad. I'm telling you, like I'm not even mad at them at all. Like I mean, that's the reason why they're there. Whatever it is that you need to do, be callous, be cold-hearted, whatever it
Play
is to
them
get to the
nicely.
finals.
No, but I'm
Just do
really
it.
disappointed. Let me tell you, if it was Lucy, there's no way she would have backed down. Big Brother would have had to make the final decision.
No, Big Brother will use his own
No
hand, do the
way.
tiebreaker,
No
or maybe
way
they'll
she
use
would have
head of house.
backed down. No
They
way.
wouldn't have agreed though. No,
Never. And that's what me I
wouldn't
like. I
have
like
agreed.
stubborn housemates. Because this what they're doing. It's like they forgot that there's a prize. You need to nominate people who will give you the best prize, not who makes things cordial for you in the house. Forget that. It's about you. Be selfish. And then you know what was funny? When Big Brother now told them to reveal their cards, when it became apparent to all 4 of them that they'd been played, they didn't know where to keep their faces.
Their faces, they
Tricky
look
T
stupid
looked
because
upset.
yes, he was. I mean, rightly so too. But then again, he played himself. If he stood his ground and tried to convince Lakon, because obviously there's no way he could have convinced V. All he needed was 2 votes in his favor, and then then it was a wrap.
Babe,
So he
if
would
they
have
had said to Biggie, we can't make a decision, that's what I would have liked to have seen. Someone said, no, I'm not backing down. I'm just not, because Biggie said unanimous decision. He didn't say majority, he said unanimous. Do you get me? It's like these housemates just get lost. Just go to Biggie, guy, I'm sorry,
Then
we
he
can't make a
started,
decision.
playing nice. When Chiquiti does that thing, they're playing nice again and all of that. Dude, are you kidding? You're here for a game. Look at how many times you've been saved. 4 times. You've gone and come back 4 times. I think that you pity your voters. Pity the
Do you
people that are voting
understand?
with you now.
He didn't even say to. He didn't even say to Lekon, look, guy, me and you every week. Some people have been sitting down.
Let them wear shoe and let them dress up and wear shoe join.
Why should join in that year of Thatcher and fraud and no mashallah lie they will wear shoe and cloth.
Every week.
They will wear shoe and cloth on Sunday. Are you mad? You're sitting there, me every. And then after the vote, Neo had the mouth to say, oh, I've only been at once, only been nominated once. I was like,
guy, but the guy guide them now. Good for them, really. I think it was well deserving for Neo and V. I think this is possibly the tightest lineup we've had this season, with the exception, of course, of the times when the whole house was up. Yes, with housemates like Lakon being up against someone like Shikiti.
Just
it's interesting. I mean,
remove Lekon from the equation. Remove Lekon from the equation. It's just between
like, it'll be interesting to see what the gap will be. Yes, exactly. It'll be interesting to see what the gap will be this weekend. But you never know.
There was a scene in the garden when Lekon, Tricky, and Dora was on a daybed, and the boys were on the little stools. And Dora said, "For the second time, I'm the only girl up." And then Tricky looked at Lekon and said, "Yeah, she's the only girl up. Aspa, this is what I was trying to avoid."
Yes, yes.
And he's been super nice to Dora since, because I feel like he feels really guilty about that. But what's upsetting me is
I was really surprised, that Lakon actually went ahead to nominate Dora when Neo was there. So you see,
didn't want to nominate Dora, Ifeanyi, but by the time V had done them back, forth and forth. He was lost. The boy was lost. It was, oh yeah, put Dora. The guy
No,
was
but
like,
really
put
though,
Dora,
like
put
it
Dora.
was quite disappointing, honestly. Like I really wish that either of them stood their grounds, by the way.
No, they forgot that the guy, Biggie said unanimous. Because that's how they got Ozo as well. Dora said to him 2-1. But Biggie didn't say majority. He said unanimous. What should have happened is they should have gone to Biggie and said, I'm sorry, we can't make a decision. 2-1, 2-2. And then the guy would just have to remix something and come up. Do you get me? But anyway,
Yeah.
it is because Ozo and Dora were sure that they were gonna be up. So but at this point you had nothing to lose. Tricky was sure he was gonna be up. So you have nothing to lose. You have to take it to the wire. The thing I like most about these housemates is also the thing I don't like about them, which is that they don't have any toxicity towards each other by and large, but at the same time, they're not competitive enough. Imagine my prince with all his competitive spirit. You would tell him that, oh yeah, this one should. No, if you want to call him competitive, he will die on that line with you. You will go back to Biggie and he will tell you what to do. I was very disappointed with how easily they gave up. I wanted it to be more of a drama, you know?
Yes. Drag it.
Yeah.
When the 30 minutes are up, Biggie will have to give him another 30 minutes to
Yes, now.
deliberate again. Like, yo,
This is a
because
spot of the
this thing has to-
finals.
Of
What
course,
the hell?
so it's not a joke. So I mean, like I think they just all gave up so easily, you know.
So
Anyways,
easily.
Tola, have you seen Twitter? Do you have comments on Twitter? Please, guys, send your comments, and we'd like to take your comments on the show. Thank you, Tola.
All right, I've got Neo was being a bully, but Ozo and Dorothy were dumb for letting him. By Basim, thank you. Athena at Silver Surfet _ says V and Neo bully them into submission, therefore for not standing their ground. I agree with you.
I agree, but then they were playing their game well.
Yes,
you know?
now it's the
game.
housemates' fault. Now you have to congratulate Neo and V. They did what they were supposed to do.
Yes.
Pet Project says, I felt Dora didn't nominate V because she felt if she was up against V, she will have to contest against votes from Neo plus V's team. Yeah, but Dora didn't think. Dora never ever entered bottom 4 all the while the voting was going on. So she should think.
Exactly.
Neo enter bottom 4 once, V enter bottom 4 once. So come on, you by yourself never enter bottom 4, but they had each other and they still enter bottom 4 one time each. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's easy to say if you're outside, but yeah. And then from Olugbemi, we've got, the thing is, Neo and V have strong personalities. Besides, Lakon is pliable to V just as Ozo is to Neo. It was well played to them. I agree 100%. The luck of the draw is Neo and V being on different teams. That's spectacular luck, you know, and they played it to the best of their advantage. I'm not mad at that. Do we have any comments on YouTube?
Yes, please. Just Being 7 says the nominations cannot work when they are already established cliques and alliances.
Exactly.
But how slow are those housemates to be bulldozed by a couple?
Exactly.
I agree.
Exactly.
Michael Lamin Kaba says that is so true. I do really agree with you both on this, that for the past couple of weeks, Neo's fan base have been very weak, but by the end of the day, it's still the game. And that's correct. The game is the game.
Yes,
Just Being 7 again. Okay, Opaloa Onoji said, I loved last night's nomination format too. Too bad the housemates let Bonnie and Clyde play them.
Yes, they got played like a fiddle. They got played like a fiddle. I was gonna say one thing. I think this is probably the first Big Brother I've watched where not all the strongest candidates made it to the final. I think so. With the exception of Lolu leaving before Alex, because I think Lolu was stronger than Alex. I think this is the first Big Brother I've watched where you had
that's contestable, by the way. Think Lulu was stronger than Alex. You just thought, no, I don't think so, because even in terms of fan base, fans,
forget
Alex
fan base, because fan base grew as the Tolex nonsense grew. But Lolu by himself,
now you know that nonsense. So
Lolu by himself was stronger than Alex. If my memory serves me right, but if I'm wrong, please let me know using the hashtag BBNaija.
But Lolu was a boring boy. Now, I don't really remember anything remarkable that Lolu did.
See, people who were attracted to Lekon were attracted to, in part, or were also attracted to someone like Lolu, and you can see the similarities now, you know. So
yes, I get that, but then Lekon also had something else going, which was like the whole Erica thing.
We're not here to argue Lolu and Lekon now.
Wait now. You brought it up. What I'm just saying is that you can't just say he was stronger than Alex.
He was.
That's your own. Okay, well, I guess we'll just agree to disagree.
But like I said, listeners, if I'm wrong, please tweet at me, BBNaija LDBD, and let me know, you know.
Okay, so Titilaya has a question, Tola. I think I'd like to ask this question again. Titilaya Olorunshaya says, What do you think Biggie would have done if they couldn't make a unanimous decision?
These Momo housemates just deprived us of finding out.
Or finding out, right?
I can assure you that if this was pepper them, now Biggie go settle this matter.
We died there. Oh.
We died
Some
there.
of good, all of them. We die here. Nobody's moving an inch.
If Lucy was still in the house, lie, she's not backing down, lie. And that's the spirit that they needed. This is they cost Prince for being competitive, but they gave away their chance to appear in the final because they didn't want to offend each other. Yeah. That's what it comes out, and I hope Ebuka presses them on that on Sunday. You know, I hope he presses them on that because this won't be him interfering. It's already been done. You know, the people who are leaving on that day will leave, but I hope he tells them by just accepting this thing that was done. Some of you have lost your chance to be in the final because you don't know what would have turned out if you had stood your ground. And I'm certain that if Tricky had stood his ground and they put up Neo, if Dora had stood her ground and they put up V, both Tricky and Dora will still be in the house.
That's
because Dora and Tricky are both stronger than Neo and V, especially if Lekon is on the firing line as well for V. You know,
I agree with you completely, Tola.
That's life.
So let's move on to the next topic.
Before you enter the next topic, right quick, shout out to the R&D. Guys, go vote for your housemate of the week right now on Not Just a Case Twitter handle. Is the pinned tweet right there. Vote for your housemate of the week. You have about 13 minutes left. All right, guys.
Excellent. Please go vote. My personal housemate of the week, you know, I'll share that with you later. But yeah, moving on from that. I think we sort of jointly covered topic 1 and topic 3. But let's quickly let's talk about it. Ozo's second strike.
I mean, like as we all know, Ozo has yet again been given another strike. Tola, I mean, this time, what was he found guilty of again? He was found guilty of breaking one of Biggie's rules, which is do not write in the house. Housemates aren't allowed to make personal notes. They're only allowed to write during tasks and all of that, you know. But then our dear lover boy Ozo decided to write a love letter to his love interest in the house, Nengi. And Big Brother obviously didn't find that funny at all. So Tola, can you tell us more about this?
Well, that's exactly what happened. He decided to write a love note to Nengi. Everyone made fun of him on Twitter, as they do when he does all his weird things that he does where she's concerned. And we thought that was that. Because to be fair, we had seen
Neo.
We had seen Neo and V exchange notes at least 3 weeks prior with nothing coming out of it. Now, I reckon that might be because those notes were public, as in they were read to the whole house. But Big Brother doesn't say you can write notes so long as they're public. You're just not allowed to write.
Right,
that's
it.
All,
yeah. That's
unless it's for a task. So once again, we're back here and it seems like we're complaining about the same things over and over.
All
the
over
production's
all over again.
Inconsistencies are maddening. They showed the note to the entire house. And again, luckily for Ozo, it was not Pepper Dem, Big Brother. Because the way they would have finished his life, his full life, if it was Pepper Dem.
It's almost like that didn't happen.
It
almost
didn't,
like that. Like it didn't happen. I'm like, oh wow, these people are actually a special breed of people, because if it was Pepper Dem or Double Wahala, that is all they would have talked about until the end of the show. Like, you know,
for sure.
Nobody even made an extra mention of it. Like they probably just talked about it in passing and that was it.
And that
I'm
was
like,
it.
yo,
I was so
you guys,
surprised.
someone gave me, they even wrote love letter. They were turning their heads upside down to read the love note, and you know, like, and they just got over it like after like the whole whatever, and that was it. I'm like, okay,
they didn't even tease him. They didn't even, you get me? They just got over it. But I think the bigger question in that is, however, Ozo's behavior over the last week was quite something. It was quite something. Almost every single day. If there was a day he didn't speak on it, maybe it was just one day. Almost every day discussing relationships with Nengi, every day, to the point where she was so tired, so exasperated. It was written all over her, you know.
And she kept saying, Ozo free me. I think even on Twitter they even started a hashtag Ozo free Nengi. Because he was really, really, really becoming ridiculous, to be honest.
It was too much. And I felt really bad for her. But one thing I have to disagree with is people asking that Big Brother should have intervened. No, they shouldn't have. They let it play out exactly. But for when he told Nengi to go and tell Ozo that she could maybe become his girlfriend. I think they handled this Nengi and Ozo situation exactly as they should have handled it. Because Nengi did not feel physically threatened by his constant attention. She was really exasperated for sure. She was tired. She was frustrated, all that. But she still had room. I don't think Ozo snuffed out her room or her personal agency to say, look, I'm walking away from you, or look, F off, if it really came to that. So I think they handled the situation the way they should have, but
to be fair, so sorry to cut you short.
No, go
on. To be fair, I don't think that because we don't really know. I don't think anybody actually asked Nengi how she felt about this whole thing. Honestly, I think that it was important because you could tell she was stressed out about this whole thing. She was not finding it funny at all at some point, But then it just didn't seem to her like she had any choice at all. Because even if she went to report, of course she was never going to report or anything, But it was obvious that this girl was tired of this whole thing.
Would you, in your opinion, do you think she did everything to get away from him? I know she shouldn't have to be running. I know she shouldn't have to be running, but after she said what she said, she will still go and eat on the same plate with this boy. She will still say, let's go to bed.
Exactly. So yes, I understand that. However, Ozo himself hadn't conducted himself because there's also, for me, I don't know, it might sound like a bit of a conspiracy theory, but I also just know that Nengi cares a lot about Ozo, okay? I wouldn't want him to get in trouble.
Yes,
so which means that made her, she felt like she was a bit restrained from expressing exactly how she felt about this whole thing.
I mean, we've been here before.
Sometimes she started, trying to express herself, and then she'll just quickly catch herself and just, try to muster a smile or something, but she clearly wasn't finding it funny anymore. However, okay, imagine the conversation they had on Saturday. That was really long, and it was really quite long.
She was very clear with him.
And she was very clear with, And then the next day, my boy and I said, okay, you know what? Let me just give this babe space now, Abby, and I mean resolve my own feelings and all of that.
The next evening,
that was yesterday evening.
Live show,
that's all that spoke about for almost an hour. She was upset that you now left me and walked away. So what exactly do you want? So I understand now when people say, "Oh, so should let this girl be," but Nengi isn't exactly making it easy for him, because you see, if the it's like, okay, I'm trying to get away from this whole thing, okay, and then she comes back again to say, "Oh, but you left me, but we're not enemies now." But okay, fine. Like right now, I'm trying to work on my emotions. I cannot be around you to resolve my emotions or my feelings about or towards you. I think it's a fair thing to ask to get some. Also, too, didn't want to be like, oh, he was pushing her away, so he just clicked reset on that thing. So now they went back to where they started. So after boring us with that long conversation for how many days, we just I don't know what this.
To be fair, in Nengi's defense, so the latter half of what you said, in Nengi's defense, I feel she wouldn't mind space from Ozo if Ozo would say, this is what I am doing. It's like Ozo is keeping malice with her. He didn't he's sort of like my way or the highway kind of guy. Do you understand? The last time she gave Prince a twerk, he cut her off. He just stopped talking to her. This again, after Sunday live show and after their conversation in the afternoon. Once again, he cut her off. He just thought, and she's like confused, like, we're not fighting. I don't mind where you sleep. I don't mind where you sleep. But if we're not fighting, can you at least communicate what it is you're doing? So if it's that we're giving each other space, let's give each other space. Like, talk about it. But you know what? Let me be fair also again to Ozo. She doesn't speak in these definitive terms. She's not. So it's like, so it's like, are you being serious? Are you joking? Like when she's teasing him about him not being near her, how is the boy supposed to know if she's being for real or if she's joking? Do you see what I mean? So she's also. But I want to be wary of what I'm saying when I say this, because I don't feel like she should have to make a big show and song and dance when someone says, give me space. If someone says to me, give me space, I'm going to take them at face value. I'm just going to take them at face value. She has told him to stop touching her up. He's still trying to rub her bum. She still has to constantly keep removing his hand from her bum. I saw this last night. It's today Tuesday. I saw it last night. Monday night again.
We saw it on the night where where the jacuzzi.
Do you understand? She's still removing this boy's hand from her body. So it's like, yes, she has a part to play in all this, but also he's clear he doesn't listen to anything she says unless he starts feeling aggrieved, and then he will cut her off. He doesn't listen to a word. If Nengi leave face like this, Ozogo kiss him.
Behave yourself.
I'm not joking. You go knock her better kiss if she leaves her face. If she leaves her face,
If she just forget the face carelessly anyhow.
you go kiss her.
That kiss, she gonna laugh for her mouth.
Serious kiss, because the way he looks at her sometimes, it's like, then we just kiss you, babe. You better dress back.
So even when she tried to hug us, so you see her keeping her face miles away before kiss can mistakenly laugh for the mouth. It's crazy. Also, he's a cool guy, to be honest, but dude, get a hold of yourself, get a grip of yourself, please. This is really, really looking ridiculous now. I beg. You don't do it's Apple now.
Yeah, I mean, I think they both have a part to play in this, and well, it's almost the end of the show. I foresee that they both make it to the finals. I mean, Nengi has a ticket to the finals already, being the HOH,
and that made me so happy. Like,
made me happy. She deserves it.
Yes,
she really
deserved.
It.
Yeah, she did.
I mean, I think in the end her game was rubbish, but she deserved it. She deserved it.
For whatever we're expecting of her making it to the finals, yeah, she did deserve like that. What?
And also, well, I think do you know what? Do you know what's funny? I cannot say anyone in the house doesn't deserve to be in the final right now. It's a matter of preference, who you would like to see. But everybody there deserves it. V, for the past maybe 4 weeks, has been the top female in the house in terms of winning competitions, entertainment, all that. She's been the top female housemate. Do you understand? Tricky T, Lekon, even Neo has been the master entertainer in that house for maybe the past 2 weeks. So even though they didn't have the overarching storylines of the season, everybody in that house deserves to be where they currently are. So
that's absolutely correct.
It is what it is. Let me just take a few comments on Twitter. Olu, who's an avid watcher of the show, I always enjoy his comments. He says, "That's not true. Marvis was in the finals just as Alex and Nina. That's correct. Lulu was way stronger than Alex and Nina.
Marvis actually had 1%.
Listen, that's not true. Marvis was in the finals just as Alex and Nina. That's correct. Lulu was way stronger than Alex and Nina. He lost out because they evicted 3 out of 4 in the penultimate week, and Nina got some silly lucky draw to gain immunity." Yeah, you're right. That second paragraph just makes me shake my head again. The production in this show is crazy.
all these twists and turns, and then we just end up like, yo, with what now?
They just managed to engineer it so that the 2 girlfriends of the 2 leading males made it with them to the final.
Yeah, and honestly, Tola, like about Marvis, let's go back to Marvis a little bit. Marvis had 1 point something percent.
She did.
1 point,
she
like,
did.
Whereas if it had like 57%
50,
or something like that,
over 50%.
So I think it was like the whole click thing. Yes. So I mean, imagine that people like
because it was Bisola and Marvis in the click, and they all made it to the finals.
Yes, that's very correct. And then Debbie Rise was there, and then one more person who
T-Boss.
The combo, yes, T-Boss was there.
Yeah, so Debbie Rise and T-Boss together, Ife Marvis and Bisola together, the 2 cliques basically just dragged each other to the finals. And I don't see Neo and V getting as little as 1%, but I mean, it just depends on how benevolent Lacon's fans want to be. If they want to carry 90%, they feed to them. So
don't say never. You want to say 1%. Okay, now let's see. Should be all of us are here now, because I think this season, like the way Lacon they have been packing votes, and it's not even the finals yet. As a minute, they shall know 1% for the final.
Honestly, they're so percentage proud as well, They are so percentage proud, like they want to see that ridiculous percentage. They love it, So hopefully, fingers crossed, it doesn't get crazy, because I won't like to see where one housemate is getting 1%. That would really annoy me, to be honest.
But that happened before, and it could very much well.
And that was 2 years ago. That was what 3-4 years ago now. That was when Ife just did handicap for the watching nation. That was then. I know. All right, so let's move on. Let's quickly move on. We were going to talk about, we were going to highlight Ozor's game, but I think we've spoken about Ozor a lot. Is there anything in particular, as we come up to, to the final weeks, is there anything in particular about Ozor that you would like to highlight for the
I mean,
listening
like we've
audience.
only spoken about Ozo as regards Nengi, but let's talk about Ozo as Ozo, like as a housemate, like we'd like to
Yes, yes, yes,
spotlight
yes.
here. So, Ozomena, he
Chuku.
wasn't an instant face for me, from the stage, but like he most definitely caught my attention. I mean, fresh skin, nice white outfit, and the most perfect fit, by the way. He spoke very well and etc. So naturally, I thought he was going to be one correct Igbo boy, playing girls left, right, and center. I mean, he had the looks, right? But
To you.
yeah, naive sabi, but anyways, I'll come right back to that. Ozal is easily one of the smartest guys in the house. I think that a lot of people agree with that. He's well traveled, well taught, and I mean, well raised in a good home and definitely well spoken. In fact, I remember saying it many times about it a lot too. Saying that whoever raised this boy did a fantastic job. Perfect gentleman, Kenny. Until with Nengi started, HOH two, like being two times HOH. He won their house wager both times. Everybody else was losing.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you said about him is what I would say about him as well, which is that he's really well raised, exposed, all that, right? But I think he's well raised, but he's not fully raised. I think that's what I would say about Ozo. He's a well raised man, but not a fully raised man. Because you can see as he's progressed in the show that his experiences, though broad, and this is going to sound oxymoronic, his experiences, though broad, are very narrow. So his
Yes.
experiences are broad because he's traveled and he's mingled with people from different places, different religions,
Mm-hmm.
ethnicities, races, whatever. But they're very narrow. So maybe his experiences are in academia and sports, right? But in terms of like, he doesn't have fantastic he
Socialization.
doesn't have fantastic
No,
social skills. He's not
no,
really
he
a very good
doesn't.
storyteller. He doesn't know how to read when to stop talking. Like he talks at long
Mm-hmm.
lengths. However, what balances that out was a story he told, I think, yesterday to Big Brother in the Big Brother house. And I was like, this is why I really like this guy to begin with. When he was a kid, he wanted to learn how to play football. He realized that he wasn't good at playing football. So what did Ozo do? He took out the roller ball from a deodorant and started hitting it on the wall so he could like sharpen his reflexes.
Mm-hmm.
And because when boys are playing football, nobody wants to be the goalie. But if you
Mm-hmm.
sharpen your reflexes enough, they will choose you every time. So
Mm-hmm.
he saw that disadvantage in himself and he chose an area where he could be of service and worked at it, and really, really
Mm-hmm.
worked at it. And that just endeared him to me again. I'm like, this is why I liked you to begin with. Like, this is the
Yes.
thing I saw in you that was really dope to me. He lost that somewhere along the third or fourth week. I can't remember when.
Mm-hmm.
He just became just about Nengi. Every conversation
Just
he
about
had was
Nengi, and then
Nengi,
his 15-year-old experience, like you
right?
did. Don't Do you not have
And
any other experiences aside from that
and
one?
my dad said, I always tell myself, it's like,
Go
dude,
away.
so I really hope for Ozo that this experience shows him that he needs to maybe broaden his mind,
Work on his
broaden his
social skills.
circle, and really start
Mm-hmm.
sort of living for himself as opposed to just
Yeah.
wanting to be like his
Living for his
father.
family, his
You know,
dad, his mom, and
yeah,
feeling
yeah,
like he has to be like his dad.
yeah,
Every,
yeah, 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 yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, like
I think
whatever good they've deposited in him clearly has germinated. But I think it's now
yes,
time for him to move on and be a man of his own, like his
exactly,
own man, and
exactly.
be. I honestly think that he had a pretty good chance to be easily top three finalist. Until this
One
whole
and
ship
two,
thing happened.
one and two,
Yes,
one and two. It could have
exactly.
easily been
Mhm.
Lekon Ozo, 1 and 2. But he
Yes,
made
I
it
agree. I
so
agree
easy
with
for
you
Lekon to pull
completely.
away. He just shrank into himself. Like, to be fair, I only know that he has a relationship with Neo, and his relationship with Neo is centered around his relationship with Nengi because that's how they became
Hmm.
friends. And when you
Hmm.
see him
Hmm.
talking one on one with another housemate, it's about Nengi. So it's kind of sad to me in a way that a man with so much to offer was reduced to
Too
being a
sad.
love.
Yes.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of sad. But I liked him
But
to
I mean,
begin
like,
with.
I mean, like, once he comes out and sees that, okay, listen, these are the areas I need to work on. I need to become independent of my family, of and be a man for myself. I think he'll make a fantastic young man.
I
So
think
yeah,
so
all the
too. I
best to
think so too.
Ozamena. Yes,
I think he has more growing up to do. But
yes,
he's not a
yes.
he's not a bad guy at all.
At all,
He
yes.
has
No, he's
yeah
not.
he has more growing up to do, and hopefully he will get much better. I'm rooting for him. Just to take a quick comment. Just take a quick comment from Twitter. Olugbemi says Ozor's letter was after Biggie gave them the final warning against violating the rules. Neo and V's writing could reasonably be said to have been covered by that, even though I don't think they clocked that they were violating the rules. Everyone just thought it was cute, just as Ozor's. Yeah, I don't agree, because Ozor got a strike for whispering, even though the whispering was covered under the general warning, but they brought it back to give him a strike again. So
That's
no,
correct. And then Neo has also been caught whispering, like the night he had the altercation. Imagine that Neo got a warning for restraining V from going out of the room. Like basically, he took away her personal freedom, freedom of movement around the house, and he got a warning. And then also got another strike again for writing. So it just like, I mean, the inconsistency is just sickening. Like, I'm not even going to lie. Like, this season has been full of it. Yeah,
it is quite. I mean,
just too much.
Personally, I hope that. I always hope that the viewers put enough pressure on them to cause them to change, but I doubt it. We'll keep coming back. Addiction, they cause nonsense, and we're all pretty much addicted to this show right now. So it is what it is. You guys, the polls for Housemates of the Week has now closed, I believe. Yes, final results. Yes, the polls have closed. Ooh, we have a new winner today. Ooh. Yes. I think that about rounds up our show this week, to be fair. Not too much has happened, and I think we've covered the key points. Yeah, I think we've covered the key points that we need to cover. Do you have anything else to speak on, to touch on before we round up?
I think that'll be all for today.
Excellent. After our mammoth marathon show last week, we managed to squeeze it under an hour this week. Do you have any comments to take on on YouTube, brother, before we round up the show?
Okay. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So, Mohammed Ali Bar says, "I want Lakon to win." No worry, you go win. It's okay. off your mic. Off your mic. You go win. Nasakara Edosa says, "Frankly speaking, of all the housemates put up for eviction, Lakon and Azor have the biggest chance of making it to the finals." I also agree with you, but then again, you never know.
I think the gap between Ozor and Dorothy is not that big at all. So,
exactly, so it can easily be covered this week. We'll just have to wait and see. Levi Chi Matimbu says, "Do you think you're in a position to say he's not fully raised?" So, I believe that question is for you.
It's for me. Yes. The reason I say that is he's still very juvenile in a lot of his ways. So it's like he's not developed yet. He's not developed into an adult fully.
He's not fully in the way
in the way he socializes. So it's sort of like he's stuck.
He's socialized like a teenager, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes. He's stuck in his adolescence, and that's why I say he's not fully raised. There's some raising, so you get raised by your parents, and then you raise yourself through your experiences, through your relationships. That's the stage of his raising. Exactly, that's the stage of his raising that I believe is missing right now. I hope that makes some sense to you.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Then that will be all the comments from YouTube.
Excellent. Thank you very, very, very much, listeners. I really enjoy that. I have some comments. Too Igbo to be playing with money. At Trace Delay says, "Yup, Iffy Nengi isn't making it easy at all," with reference to also trying to get some space. OVA at OVAO saying, "I like this Ozo breakdown on BB Naija LDBD." Yes, exactly. Trill at Zero Mobola G says, "Would really like to hear your opinion on the dynamics of the Lakon and Dorothy friendship." See, apologies, listeners, I've got a throat situation. So I can't give you an insight into this, Trill, because the questions that Big Brother should ask them, he hasn't asked them. So on the face of it, all I can see is that they've got a kind of sibling relationship, with Lakon being the younger brother, even though he's older than Dorothy, right?
Yeah.
But he can't do anything. So he can't cook, he can't even boil water. She has to do all that for him. But in exchange for doing all that for him, she makes him pay. So, like, I enjoy their banter. I enjoy the way they see each other. I think there's no malice involved in them voting for each other. It's just centered around competition. But again, this is me being presumptuous. Biggie hasn't done his job. So all we can do is just, grapple with a bunch of conjecture. And that's all we've got. I've got a comment from Ada at Jane's Onzi 16. Tola and Iffy are making me cry on their Ozo analysis. So spot on. The criticism was also done in love and also objective. Oh, this is the nicest comment.
I know.
And you know why this is extra nice? Because this particular listener gives me hot ordinarily.
But she's sweet to me. You know I'm sweet, right?
Yeah, she's sweet to you, but she gives it to me hot. So I'm really moved by this. Thank you very much, Ada. Ozo was someone I really, 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 really liked when the game began, because I'm a very family-oriented person. Like, ask my friends. I talk about my sisters all the time. You get me? So
Same as me.
Exactly. So when I see that in someone, I'm immediately drawn to them. But I do have other things to speak about as well. And I certainly don't follow anyone up and down the way he does. and
Well,
I do not. And Olu says, I actually think Dorothy has a better chance to make the finals than Ozo, given the alliances available to her. Let's wait till Sunday, Sha. Alliance is Nadagbo, my brother. The only sure alliance. You understand? The only sure alliance in that house is Lacon's icons for V. That's it. Not even the other way around, because V's Vivians, or what are they called? They're not rich, so they can't really make a difference for Lacon. He doesn't need them, So the only alliance sure in that house, in terms of votes, is Lacon's fans for V. That's it. Every other thing now guess. Toby Aina says he really wanted me, or she really wanted me, to talk about perceived class differences and how or if they influence reactions to Tasha and Erica. Yeah, I really want to talk about it too, but given how heavy last week's show was, I thought we deserved a bit of a breather this week. So we might talk about it on the grand finale. Who knows? We might give you an extra show, but we just talk about.
How many more shows do we have?
Well, there's only one more. No, there are two more. So there's one covering the events of this week.
And then one post finale, yeah?
Exactly, one post finale. So with that the post finale, we might just make it 2 hours and just take all kinds of questions if people want to ask us, just to give you a nice extra. But before we go, we just like to announce the housemate of the week.
Well, you will share small chops for us, not Tolaba.
Aspa.
We'll be chopping small chops. Finally now, we'll be chopping small chops and drinking something.
You all should share small chops. Let me listeners, let me blow my own trumpet. Let me blow my own trumpet for a bit. This show is my passion. But you all should share small chops for me. Let me tell you what, I have contributed the most to the lexicon. I have given you a show, an in-depth show. I'm on my Twitter making sure that I tweet what's going on. Sorry, you can speak your own. You can also talk your own. I have made a list that people can go to catch up on what's going on and see different opinions.
Okay, that's fine. You guys can give Tola small chops. Just give me booze. That's all.
Give me the small chops. What's going on? I put in my work now. It's not easy. Yes, it's not easy at all. I don't try. My lizard has jumped from a tree. If they're not praise them, you go praise.
Collect your flowers. Take all your flowers.
You get me? All right, listeners. Thank you so very much. I really do appreciate you guys sticking with us. It always makes me feel good just to see the interaction. Anyway, before we go, let's quickly announce the housemate of the week. Dun, 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 dun.
Correct B. Housemate of the week.
So the BB Naija LDBD housemate of the week nominees were Ozo, Dorothy, Nengi, and V. I personally voted for Nengi because she was the biggest talking point for me last week. However, all the housemates on this list were big talking points last week. Who did you vote for?
I voted for Nengi.
Okay, but the winner, as chosen by you, with a margin of 31%, is OTTT.
Dara.
Oh, Dorothy, baby. Shout out to the explorers all over the globe, walking with their full chest. Shout out to you guys, you know. Good luck with the voting. But congratulations to you. Congratulations to Dorothy for the second time. She is the housemate of the week. Good luck to her with the evictions and the nominations and all that. You know, we enjoy her in the house. Good luck to her and good luck to you guys soliciting funds for votes. My heart is with you, you know. All right, guys, if you have any more questions, please get at us on Twitter at Afro7 for myself. That's AFROVII. And at, what's your at, Iffy?
At Iffy Ajike at IPHIEAJIKE.
Yes.
At Iffy Ajike. Yeah.
On Twitter. So follow us on Twitter, drop your questions, use the hashtag. You know, you can also pop into my DM, it's open. Please be polite. I'll be polite to you. Please be polite to us. You know, we enjoy this and we will catch you guys next week for our pre-final show. It's going to be exciting. Please start asking us the questions as soon as they occur to you. Just make sure you use the hashtag so we can see them. If you ask me my mentions, it might get lost because my mentions are ridiculous. Thank you very much. Always.
Use the hashtag or just send a DM to either of us.
Exactly. If you do have anything else to say before we close out?
I think that'll be all. Again, as always, stay safe. Corona is still outside.
All right,
enjoy
you guys.
the rest of your week.
Thank you so much. Take care. Ciao. Peace.
You're listening to the BB Naija Lockdown Breakdown on Not Just Okay Radio.